A study by a U.S. think tank out this month says the earnings gap between college-educated and lower-educated millennials is wider than previous generations. And our next guest says success after college is not only based on academics, but on a student's social performance as well. David Porter, CEO and president of Porter Consulting, has worked with leading academic institutions on this issue, including Princeton and MIT. And he joins us now in studio. Great to have you with us, David.
Great to be here, Catherine.
Let's talk a little bit about this. It seems as though what you're saying is that it's really important to be social. I think a lot of people would be happy to hear about that, or students would be.
Well, I like to characterize it as the classroom outside of the classroom. I mean, we all know about academics and performance and GPAs and SATs and so forth. But then once we get to college, or the college experience, I think it's crucial to the development of a young person to learn how to develop, let's say, social intelligence, emotional intelligence. Learn how to develop the face-to-face networking skills, problem-solving skills, collaborative skills we all need to be successful once we graduate. You know, we talked about how to monetize your education. Well, that kind of presupposes that we can turn our education into some kind of gainful employment. And the skills, I think, that are necessary to get employed and stay employed and then shift and pivot as necessary really are more social, interpersonal than purely academic.
What's changed, though, David? Because, I mean, I did graduate a number of years ago now, but we were, I thought, very social then. Has something happened from technology and everybody using their smartphones that this is even more important now today because people have lessened their social skills that they're coming out of university with?
That's exactly what's happening. I think this explosion of social media, especially electronic social media, in some ways, I think, can make us more antisocial. You know, we tend to be more to ourselves and less as part of a group and less face-to-face. And in my new book, I kind of equate, like Facebook, for example, to kind of, you know, I don't mean to be too negative, but it's almost like McDonald's is to food, Facebook is to social networking. I mean, I wouldn't use it as my primary diet, but it's good to have it, and it's good to have it there. But what's really meaningful and important in the development of a young person is the face-to-face interpersonal skills, which you'll never get on Facebook or Instagram or any of the other electronic medium as a sole way of socializing.
David, talk to us, though, about what you've done with some of these academic institutions. You know, we mentioned in the intro MIT, Princeton, Vanderbilt as well, and the U.S. Naval Academy. I'm curious, what did you tell them to do that they should be doing?
Well, we worked at all those places, but let me hit a little closer to home. We're working currently at York University. They're doing something called flipping the classroom in their engineering school, where they're actually going to have students take the class, watch the lecture on their laptop, and when they go to the classroom, they're going to have them socially interact, collaborate, and do the work. Simon Fraser University in Vancouver, BC, a year ago, and right now they have, I think, the premier dining program in Canada. They have a 24/7 dining learning commons, and we developed a dining commons for them, but morphed it into a dining learning commons where students can come and go, socialize, hang out, study, collaborate, and dine, but they have it right there 24/7, and it's not only popular with the resident students, but non-resident students, and we've replicated that in the U.S. at a few schools, too.
But David, let me get the granularity here. What are you teaching them to do in their dining experience that they weren't doing before that's going to help them get a better job and keep their job?
What we want to do is we want to evolve the dining transaction to more of a social transaction. So instead of coming to eat and maybe hanging out with some friends, it's more of an opportunity where students are on a different clock than the rest of the world. When a parent or a student goes to check, a potential student goes to check out a campus, I think it's very important to look for venues, safe, wholesome, on-campus venues that are not only developed but open and available when the students are going to want to use them. And students are on a different clock than maybe we are during the professional work week. So what about nights, weekends, late night? You know, where can students go to study and socialize and collaborate and kind of see and be seen, connect, feel emotionally connected, get a sense of security on campus? A lot of campuses are divesting this to the local community off campus because I think it's a little bit short-sighted on the part of academic planners. Because of the money it takes to invest in these facilities and the short-sightedness, they kind of say, well, we're in a community, the students can go off campus, but then they come to campus and they end up spending more of their time off campus. We want to keep them on campus as part of the college experience, develop the face-to-face networking skills, the problem-solving skills, the collaborative skills, the networking skills. And I'm not sure that there's any career counselor maybe that's been on your program or that I've seen on television that doesn't say probably one of the most important skills you need to get a good job is to be able to professionally network. And we're better to start learning that than on a campus, making friends and reaching out and being social.
Let me ask you one last question. We only have about 30 seconds left, but you use the word networking. Is the word maybe for 2014 and going forward more about relationships?
Well, I think it's all about relationships, and I think the most meaningful relationships potentially are face-to-face relationships. You know, when we can go into a room full of students, whether it's a dining learning commons or a student center or a rec center, and when they're kind of leaning into each other, actually having a conversation, regardless of what it's about, as opposed to sitting there, you know, face down and thumbs going crazy, that's important. So I think networking is about relationships. I think social media is about relationships, but meaningful relationships that last a lifetime, I think, start face-to-face.
All right, David, thank you so much for coming in and being face-to-face with us.
I appreciate it.
That was David Porter, CEO and President of Porter Cog Consulting. Well, coming up, Mark Bunting joins us with a look at some stocks that we are watching as we get very close to those closing bells. Stay with us.